So, hello everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Live Feature Rant, episode 34. Here we're talking about the Life of Consequence video, the Halloween stuff that's going to be coming, including the build contest, the document about religion in EverQuest next, the post and roundtable little discussion, and some of the stuff that was going on in the update. So, and Landmark Live. So, a lot of stuff to talk about here. On my screen left here is our awesome guest for the week here, Catchi, who has an awesome PvP arena that will eventually return to the world. Why don't you introduce yourself and talk about all the stuff that you're up to?
Hello, my name is Catchi. I'm Megan. I wasn't ready for an introduction yet, and yeah, I've been playing Landmark for about 2 months now. I'm an openly transgendered individual, so I'm a part of the queer community per se. Um, yeah, I love this community, and I hope to see more of it.
Very cool. And you've been streaming now too. You just started up streaming recently, right?
Yes, I just started streaming on and off. Don't have a schedule yet. Still trying to figure that out. I've been trying to just like do my own thing, PvP. Hopefully PvP once that becomes a thing. Right now, it's just like if somebody's on. I might be able to do PvP, but it's still in the works. As far as streams go, still trying to figure out what I'm gonna do there. So I'm still working on that.
All right. And Adam, why don't you give the folks a little introduction here? I know you like to keep it brief these days.
I have no way to follow that up.
He's Adam. All right. Well then, let's get
It's
going.
me.
Yeah.
On with the show.
Let's get going here. So we've got all sorts of stuff to talk about here. First off, I want to talk about the Life of Consequence video. This is basically the presentation they gave at SOE Live, but it was cleaned up and condensed a little bit, had a little bit more information, a little bit more clarity with stuff. Pretty cool overall. What kind of stuff? What were your initial reactions? What's the kind of stuff that you're hoping to be able to do with it? Because I'm really excited for it myself. Catchi, why don't you start?
I'm excited. Let's see. Yeah, I'm excited for the. I'm gonna pass on this one, and I'll follow up next.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Adam.
So I literally missed the first 4 minutes of the show, and apparently F to interact overhaul. What's going on? Explain to me what's going on with that, Nero.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. I was wondering, did you get a chance to see the Life of Consequence video?
No, I did not, unfortunately.
Okay. We'll just kind of glance over that. Basically, I'll just kind of give the what's up with that, and then we'll move on. So it's basically explaining how the story brick system works, how it influences gameplay, that some events will potentially trigger other events, or people in an area who have, as a large group, a desire to do something specific which involves interfering with another group's territory, then that's how a conflict can potentially come up. Now, there's potential side effects that can come from that. For example, what they showed in the demo is if the Dark Elves go kill the Dryads or sap their energy in Kithakor, then what ends up happening is all of the weird, evil, undead creatures that were being held at bay by the Dryads start becoming powerful and emerging again and start trying to take back the area. So it becomes this multi-way battle between the Dark Elves trying to move into the Dryads area, the undead trying to move into the Dryads area, and the Dryads trying to repel both of them. So it becomes a really difficult situation. And of course, if anybody's been around when I've talked about why I kind of feel the way I do about Dark Elves, that's kind of one of the reasons. They'll just take energy from wherever. They're trying to build an empire. They're trying to trump all the other elves and show that they're top dog, and they don't care who they hurt along the way, or what kind of Balrogs they release, or any of that sort of stuff. They're just a bunch of jerks trying to make things easier for them and screw everyone else. So that's not all Dark Elves either. That's just the representation they gave for the ones in this Storybricks demo. So I mean, that's one of the things I really like about it, is it kind of shows a lot of the different aspects of how it can work. Now, this doesn't really get into as much detail. There's another Storybricks demo that had been showed previously that was pretty awesome, showing more of the kind of micro scale of how the characters interact and can influence one another, and how a quest can be generated where somebody who visited a town previously can be accused of being a thief, and then another player has to track that person down and question them about it. That was loud.
That does sound cool,
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome system. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I've got the video here. I'm not going to watch it now, but I'm definitely going to check it out after the show. So, fantastic. I look forward to it then. But yeah, I mean, you've definitely talked about this at length because you saw this at SOE Live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, it's nice it's here. Like I said, I may have mentioned previous to the show going live, I've been busy with some temporary work, so I have not had a chance to dive in on some of the info that's come out this week. So I'm going to use the show as a chance to catch up with you.
I thought it was
my
really
dear
interesting.
Landmark. Yes,
I thought
very
that was
much.
interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, like how you had the Dark Elves, and they were just like going mad, going crazy, destroying the lands.
Yeah. I think I did see this. This was being streamed during. I saw this. I did see.
Oh, so you saw it live? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it live over one of the awesome people that was streaming. I saw it then. Duh.
I think it was Nuber's stream you're probably watching.
Yeah, I believe it probably was. Yeah. Okay. But I'm gonna go rewatch it now. But for sure.
Yeah, now that it's cleaned up, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, Catchi, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I just thought it was interesting how you had that one faction just going around destroying what they needed to take the land they needed, and then you had a consequence, like that huge consequence of the this, I don't remember what they were called, the skeleton people. I'm going to call them now.
The undead.
The skeleton people take over the land. Yeah, they take over the lands, or the Dark Elves can just continue to go and take over the lands, which was amazing. Or I mean, you can have it to where Dryads actually do protect, and nothing ever happens ever because they won. I thought that was interesting.
Honestly, if that specific situation happens in game, after having seen that Storybricks demo, I'm pretty sure most players are going to side with the Dryads and just be like, nah, screw you, Dark Elves. We don't want the undead. Of course, there might also be servers who are like, yeah, we want the undead. Screw you, Dryads. So
there's always that guy, so
Because it's going to take more than one player to turn the tide. I mean, there's potentially the results will turn out differently, even without player interaction. So players being a factor in there, we may or may not be the thing that turns it over if it's just one or two people, or it could be, one or two people is the difference between, a month-long campaign winning or losing. So that's really, really awesome. I'm really excited to see that.
I would go to Dark Elves for the evil.
Nah, I'd probably side with the Dryads.
Yeah, no, definitely for me, Dryads. Also, the other thing is if you want evil, then the Ring of Scale is who you really want to be allied with. Everyone else is just lesser evil. They're not world destroying power of evil.
Yeah, exactly.
The dragons are.
The Lich King.
Yeah. Well, he's powerful, but or not the Lich King, but the Archlich or whatever. Corlin, because sorry, spoiler, everybody. Yeah, our favorite evil wizard is totally Ithiasar's Archlich. It's awesome. But
Or it
anyway,
would have been awesome if you had discovered it yourself, but Nero spoiled it for you, so don't worry about it.
that book has been out for half a year. If it's taken you this long, welcome to the Landmark community. I'm sorry I spoiled it. Otherwise, you have no excuse. Most of the names I see in
tried.
here.
I tried. I tried.
Riot! You spoiled everything.
Alright. I mean, that was in like one of the first books. So, yeah, anyway. So, the F to Interact overhaul. You know what? When they were talking about it, unfortunately, my interwebs made the funnies, so I missed it. I came back to a bunch of people saying yay. Catchy, did you catch it?
Did I what?
The thing that Dave was talking about early in the show where everyone was saying yay in chat before the
I think I was
Halloween
watching
drops.
chat. I wasn't really watching chat during the live, so I don't know.
It was the thing before the Halloween props were shown off.
All right, chat, fill me in. What's going on with F to overhaul? Or the overhaul to the F to use function?
It sounded like they were getting rid of F to Interact and changing the way you do it, but I'm not 100% sure.
I remember him
Why would
clicking.
they do that? What's no more F and F? Why? Why is there no more F and F? So what are you doing? Just clicking stuff now? Is there not a key command? What if I like using key command? That's not cool. You just don't take that away from me.
I think they should just make it toggleable, so if you don't want to see that, you don't have to see that.
It also didn't quite work. There were a lot of situations where I would press F trying to access one thing that was near something else, and no matter what angle I would try to get it, the model for one of them occluded the center of the other, and therefore it overlapped it or something.
Yeah.
I think the highlight's enough. Like, you can actually see the item you're about to touch. I don't think you even need an F to interact if you have a highlighted item.
Well, that's the other thing.
I don't see the point.
I would sometimes have issues where I couldn't highlight it with the mouse because it was embedded in a wall or like a light in a lantern. So F is the only way I could interact with it at that point, short of cutting out a whole voxel, turning it on, and then doing undo. And I'm not
That's
sure.
where you go back to toggleable.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Toggleable.
But yeah, I've definitely had that issue when you're standing near a bunch of things and you hit F. Like, you're right. It's very unpredictable as to what's going to happen. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like you try to pick up the game table and then your mailbox is highlighted. You're like, well, what's going on here?
Yeah, for sure.
You've moved it 4 feet in the air and you're like, no!
So, for people who love beaches, water optimization.
Yes.
So basically, water that's occluded by terrain that your camera can't see won't be drawn anymore. Yay!
That'll be
Free polys.
Yeah, that's a help.
Yeah, big time.
5 more years, it won't matter. It won't make a difference to the average system if it's drawing the water behind, of things you can't see. But we're not there yet.
In 5 years, the water landmark isn't going to look revolutionary anymore. Right now, it's really awesome because it actually, it's kind of procedural and amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely kind of neat and dynamic, moving through the water for sure.
Catchy, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say I really love the water in the game. I mean, I'm hoping it doesn't bug out to where like you dig a hole next to the beach and then you have water in there. I think that's amazing. That's very dynamic. Like, it's so realistic. I'm hoping that doesn't bug it out.
I like it a lot. Just the one thing that's kind of weird for me is the water isn't just like straight flowing through the sand. It's going to kind of rise and sink a little slower, but it is really nice that it does that for sure. Go ahead.
Oh, there isn't many games that have water that's you can just dig a hole and have it in there. Like, that's incredible.
Well, it's kind of a trick actually because most games you don't have the ability to dig holes like that in general. The only game I can think of that's a comparable quality voxel world is Planet Explorers, and I haven't tried actually digging a trench by the coast yet. That's a good question. I should try that later. Um, yeah, but I don't. It's not the sort of thing that there's really a position for there to be a lot of games to have that sort of technology that exists. There's just a static volume of water, and if something opens up that area, it just depends whether or not the static volume was placed underneath that area or not. It's kind of a weird, tricky thing sometimes, but yeah, I'm really glad with the way that the water already works in the game, and when we get even more improvements, when we get the inland volumes of water and the dynamic water, waterfalls, rivers, that sort of stuff, that stuff's going to be amazing. I'm really excited for that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like we're gonna have lots of water, like underwater caves, and oh my god, we're gonna be playing with water like we're kids in a sandbox again.
Speaking of which, they said they're working on Caves 2.0. It sounds like maybe either the next update or the one after we might be seeing. Next update, they said they're going to be getting some of the systems in for it, but not the stuff after. How's optimization so far? It's coming along, Spooky. Actually, in the list here, they said multi-threading is hopefully going to be coming not today, but in 2 weeks. We just got this water optimization. We've been getting little optimizations here and there. Some folks have had some issues where the optimizations didn't really do much for them, or even potentially caused more issues. But by and large, the optimizations have actually been pretty good, and it's been continuous over the past month or so. And they're probably going to keep on a roll with it for the next month or so to finish up anything that they already got started. But I'm guessing by definitely by December, if not by November, it should be running pretty well for a whole lot of people, which is a remarkable difference from
Yep.
Gears on the screen loading as you're trying to get 100 meters in
Yeah.
alpha. It was bad. It was so bad, but they've come a long way since then.
Yep.
I think the observer mode really helped out with PvP because now it seems like if you're not playing in a PvP game, you'll be instanced inside of an observer mode slash people that are playing mode, and nobody else can see you unless you're observer or you're playing. And it like because you don't have these other people looking, it seems to be helping the frames per second and helping people play the PvP a lot better.
That's
It's-
really, really cool. The one thing I would want is an option to turn on distant observer. So if I am going by a claim where there's a battle going on, or if I want to film it from far away, just that there's action going on in the distance, I would have that as an option. Because otherwise, things being hidden at all ranges, it's cool. It's really helpful for frames and such, but it kind of limits a little bit of the machinima potential, which
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are really excited for the machinima, especially Diggs. Diggs is going to do some awesome stuff with machinima. He's got some plans. Those were some of those good and evil plans that I was talking about earlier that I'm not sure if they're good or bad, but they're definitely, he's got some good stuff and some evil stuff. So that should be pretty exciting. So that's probably about time.
And then Halloween props.
Yeah, talk about the Halloween stuff here.
Halloween.
Halloween. So,
Do you like Halloween, Nero? Are you a Halloween kind of guy?
I see it more as like when I was younger, an excuse for candy, and older, an excuse for party. So like, I understand it's co-opted from some cultures and various different things, and it's kind of a weird, interesting hodgepodge of things that have made Halloween happen the way it does. But whatever. Among the consumer holidays, it's probably the one that I like the most because at least it encourages everyone to be creative. Like more than anything, that's a really cool aspect of it.
Very true. Very true. No, absolutely. Yeah, I don't actually, obviously I'm way too old to be running around trick or treating. Though I did sneak out with my nephews a couple of years ago. Um, it's definitely it was. It's I when I have the chance, I really enjoy giving out candy because I used to love Halloween as a kid. I really did. I loved. I look forward to it. Knew what I wanted to dress up as every year. So, but with that said, I really dig in-game Halloween events. They're always a lot of fun in other games. So, this isn't really a full-blown event in the way that it is, say, an MMO. It's still cool that they're going to throw some stuff in, late in the game, so to speak, to celebrate Halloween here.
I'm very excited. I mean, like on my battleground, I decorated it for Halloween. I had orange and green and purple lumicide everywhere with pumpkins and ghosts. And I'm excited to put those tombstones down. Put some smoke in there when. Oh, I'm excited. And what else was I thinking? Um, I'll think about it.
All right.
I forgot already.
Oh man, now I just got a terrible idea, and I kind of have to do it for the Halloween build. This big blocky Star Fox Andros head puking out the like that part of the battle where he's just blowing out all the stuff he just sucked in, and just this cone of all sorts of weird Halloween props everywhere, just kind of sitting there in the air in a very weird, menacing way. That's the sort of weird, silly thing that I would probably want to do. I don't know if I have the time to do it. Still working on the Karen stuff, but yeah, I have a weird sense of humor.
Well, everybody needs a break from the Karen build, right?
I actually want an extra week.
I'll be honest. I gotta be honest, man. I am all Karen'd out, and I haven't even been building anything.
It's like Karen
I am
this.
Karen'd out.
You go to a stream show. It's Karen this, Karen that, Karen that, Karen that. Oh, have another Karen over here, and then you got these other claims. That's all it seems
Hey,
like
we heard
right
you.
now. It's,
We heard you like Karen, so we put some Karens in your Karen so you can Karen while you Karen.
I feel like it's been 3 months of Karen. Like
It does feel like
Karen
like,
started.
It feels like forever.
It was like I think 3 or 4 weeks before SOE Live before it got started, and then it's like after SOE Live, it's like, hey, so we should probably get on that Karen stuff again, and then
So what about the dwarves, huh?
yeah. Jokingly, I say I wonder who they're gonna lose to next time, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure
I
Brass
I
will
really
rain
think-
down hell
I-
if.
I really think that this round only, they should just go, all right, listen, we're not going to let you vote, or Brass is going to make our life a living hell. You're doing dwarves next. You'll vote next round.
A poll with just dwarves. That's all you
Dwarves.
can only dwarf. That's it.
Which race do you want to see, dwarves or dwarves?
No, not even dwarves and dwarves. Just one for dwarf. It's like no, you either you vote or you don't vote. That's it.
I vote for beards.
100% of the vote. Dwarves got 100% of the vote this time. How about that? So, I agree. So I'm looking forward to seeing. Like I said, Egg Halloween. I'm forward to seeing what folks are going to do in game. So we didn't explain specifically, but they didn't explain specifically either. It was pretty vague. They're going to do a contest, and they're going to give away an in-game title and a unique special outfit, and they're going to vote on it the way they did Landmarks, a landmark competition. So. They're adding to game. We're getting Halloween props, gates that have a squeak, craftable tomorrow.
A whole
Halloween
lot of
build
stuff.
cards.
We're gonna be
Oh
getting.
yeah, what else was there?
They're gonna be getting that. We're gonna be getting the gate sections
saw that.
themselves.
Yeah.
Those little towers, the little flower sconce that can go on the little post for the gates. We're getting the cauldrons. Getting skulls. I think gargoyles, gravestones. I feel like
Gotcha.
probably missing something, like maybe pumpkins or something, and maybe some other light sources. Some pretty fun
Yeah,
stuff
I
though.
remember St. Pumpkins. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, get cracking, folks. I look forward to seeing the Halloween Town.
I'm excited for cauldrons and the little smoke that's coming out of them. The
Yep.
green smoke. Oh my god! I thought that was neat how he used the effect behind the tombstones with the smoke.
Yes. Very.
I'm actually really excited to use those props to make weapons more than anything else, because we haven't had a good, usable skull prop yet. So now we do, and that's awesome.
Okay.
I'm really excited for that. Um,
Let's hope they're not taking them away after Halloween.
they're not.
Okay.
That would not happen. There'd be no point
So
to it.
really, yeah, that's true. So the really big news this week, out of everything they talked about, was that they're going to go bi-weekly with their updates.
And
I
there's a
thought that
very
was
good reason for that.
Yeah, it's unusual, especially, well, I suppose
No, it's
if
not
it
that
was a
unusual.
live environment. Yeah, you're right. I suppose the more I think about it, you're right. Very few games do a weekly update of any kind. It's usually monthly or bi-weekly.
I thought it was actually really kind of crazy that they're trying to do weekly, and they explained the reason
Yeah.
why. Basically, they're going by weekly is that if it's if you can work for this amount of time, but you always have this amount of time to get started with the build and this amount of time to wrap up the build and deploy it, then you're you're going to have with 1 week just a little window of time to actually get things done, versus with 2 weeks you're going to have a lot more time to get stuff done, and the amount of time spent getting ready to do the build and then wrapping up the build is going to be a hell of a lot shorter relative to the amount of production time you're putting in. So instead of having to set up, put everybody to task, wrap it up, deploy it, and rinse repeat every single week, they're going to be able to do a lot more work between the updates, and
Yeah.
also be able to work on things that take a lot longer. A lot of times developers will have teams working in different length sprints. Like sometimes you'll have somebody who's working on let's say like Michael Mann working on combat. Let's say they give him 6 weeks for it, so he's working almost independent from the rest of the team on a much larger feature that takes much longer. Or like when water was being
Yeah.
worked on, the same sort of thing. So I think that's going to provide a lot of advantage, because a lot of things that would potentially be a 2 week process can now be done all in one fell swoop, instead of part of it going in and then the next part of it going in,
Yeah.
or part of the
Yeah.
system but none of the implementation, and then you know working
Instead
adding
of
out on it.
yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Absolutely, I'm not disagreeing with you, and I'm not. Yeah, it makes sense, especially while we're in beta, is pretty much.
It gives them more time to get what they need to get done. Done. If they have something they want to get done, they're gonna have a lot more time to get that done, and it's gonna be a lot more cleaner. I think
Yeah,
if they have more time to do it.
I think the updates are going to be a lot more meaningful, and I think we're going to be able to. I think we'll actually be able to potentially provide more quality bug testing and feedback on stuff, because we'll be seeing the same build for 2 weeks at a time. So we'll be able to work out issues a lot easier, because we'll have twice as long to do it, as well as having that much more time to potentially break something that they'd have a chance to fix and get into the next update. So overall, it's all advantage. Now, someone could easily say, well, gee, why don't they extend it to 3 weeks or a month? And I would say at that point, things can start to kind of lose focus, things can kind of drag a little bit. The point of the process is to have rapid iteration. So 2 weeks is pretty ideal. I could see maybe going to 3 weeks for some features or some parts of the team, but I feel like they essentially want to have a new build coming out every other week to not only keep things fresh, but once again to have more time to get things in and get the stuff in our hands in a much more meaningful way. So I'm excited for it. It's going to be great. I'm really looking
Yep.
forward to the two following updates we're going to have this month.
Yeah. So the next obvious question is, speaking of next updates, multi-threading not fixed, not this week. Hopefully in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they said it had issues for this week, but they're
Yeah.
targeting 2 weeks from now. So that'll be really nice. That's a huge optimization.
Okay, that'll definitely help a lot more people come in, be able to play, test out, especially those people that can't play right now. I know there's a lot of people that can't play right now because their machine just doesn't have the power to do it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when
The
I
game
first started,
definitely. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, like when I first started, I started on I thought a machine. I thought it was good enough to play because I could play all these other games. But then I come here and I couldn't play because I was using one core on an AMD and it was a nightmare, 10 frames per second. Some people actually play that way, but I couldn't do it. It
Yeah.
was a nightmare.
No, I would agree that, yeah, this particular game right now at this moment does really require 64-bit operating system, which not everyone is rocking, and a fairly advanced CPU in order to really even run it at a respectable level. And it definitely needs to be cleaned up. There's no either that, or at the end of the day, they end up building this thing where it does push people to have to upgrade. But I know that they're shooting for it being playable across a wider range of systems. So fingers crossed. This will be a nice overhaul in the next few weeks. That'll make some improvements all around for everybody.
Oh yeah, more testers is going to be a lot better for the game, I think. I would hope.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ichlithid, we actually we kind of glanced over the life of consequence stuff a little bit. We actually covered a lot when came back from SOE Live, so that would definitely be the episodes to look at for discussion on it. But if it's something that you want to come over and discuss in particular, I don't think we have a guest scheduled for next week. So hit up the application down at the bottom there. In fact, anybody who wants to be on, I'm going to plug it right now. We've got a little form you can apply to be on the show down at the bottom, and that's how Catchi ended up on here, and that's how you can end up on here as well. It's a pretty easy way to do it. Anyway, let's get back on the list here. Or was there anything else on that subject that anybody wanted to talk about real quick?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I think we covered it.
Alright, so there's an overhaul going to Heroic Movement. They're going to be changing some of the items, how they work, what they're going to be doing, and they're going to be changing the ability to actually limit items and the amount that players can have equipped when we go into PvP, which is going to be pretty neat. So that way,
Yeah, that makes sense. I figure they would get around to doing that.
yeah,
Very excited about that. I mean, you have claims that they might want these items, and then you have claims that are like my claim. I don't want any items because it pretty much breaks what I intended. Like you're in a pit.
Yeah.
If you have a lunar anklet, you're just gonna I'm out of here. Goodbye. See you later. Or fly around
And
in
if you
circles.
and if you try and build for thinking, all right, if they have a lunar anklet, if I build it this way, it then becomes unusable for someone who isn't using a lunar anklet. It's a catch-22.
Exactly. And I don't like building because of some item. I like to build for
Yeah.
my train of thought.
I don't know. Once we get the one-way teleporters, you can just put one of those down there, make it a death pit, and when someone touches the one-way, they end up in a bomb room, and that's it for that life.
Mini teleports.
Yep, it's just whether they decide to stay on the side of the room with 2 bombs so they die slower, or the side of the room with 10 bombs so they die quicker.
See, I'm still waiting for death triggers, like an invisible texture that you put to surround your plane if you want. If it's flying in the sky, someone passes through it, they're dead instantly instead of getting knocked out of the game. So I'm definitely excited to maybe give some suggestions on stuff like that. Like that I've seen in other games or other game creators. Like I used to build maps for Quake 3. Well, not the best of maps, but I played around with it,
Yeah, absolutely.
Some functionality for PvP.
Yeah, fun stuff. That was actually the first thing I did with games was making maps for Legends of Might and Magic, which is where I had the name Neurotoxin, where the legendary comes from. Because Neurotoxin was already taken on Planet Side 1, it's like, damn it, alright, I'm still going to be Neurotoxin, but instead I'm going to
But
have a
instead, it's
giant long name.
legendary. Legendary.
And
No
today we learned.
ego here.
Today we learned where his name came from.
Yep.
Exactly. We learn something new about each other every week.
Yeah, I don't tell that one too frequently. Not that I'm embarrassed about the game. I really loved the game, and I want to bring the Legends of Might and Magic community, what few people are still left, up here on Landmark at some point, because everything that game had, it seems like we'll have the systems to pretty much rebuild it one for one in Landmark, and that would be awesome because we never got the license. Ubisoft, when they bought out the Might and Magic license, they're like, sorry, we don't speak English, and we can't. It's been hard to get in contact with them. But whatever. Anyway, long story. Gonna stop that now, and we'll get on with the list here. So yeah, they had talked about PvP improvement, and on our little list of notes here, I put a question mark by it because what they referred to as a PvP improvement was slower weapon swapping time. I don't see that as an improvement. I see that as something they need to make toggleable on our battlegrounds, so that way we can have instant swapping, 1.5 second swapping like it is right now, or however long it is, or however long we want. You can have 10-second swaps. So it's like, yeah, okay, if you're going to be out of combat for that long. Or it could be something that they could even flag that you can only swap weapons when you're out of combat, when you've been out of battle for 10 seconds and you're actually able to use your grappler again. But I feel like that's something we need to have the control over. It's one of those things where nobody's going to agree that they gave the right duration to weapon swapping times, especially because we've already gotten so used to the time that it is right now. So instead of having everybody constantly arguing with them and then having to try to fine tune it, just give us control over it. It's the easiest way. It might be a little more work, but in the long run, it'll be a lot less heartbreak.
Yeah, just like I was saying with the items. I mean, you can have a map that doesn't use the bow, and let's say you have all 3 items hotkeyed, and you hit the bow by mistake, and it's a 10-second timer or something ridiculous. I don't think it will be that, but let's just say it was, and you're stuck here on a map that doesn't use the bow is terrible because there's line of sight issues everywhere. Yeah, I think we should definitely have control because we're gonna run into some sort of issue like that sometime or another.
There's one other issue that I think isn't being looked at here, and if it is, then they definitely didn't mention about it. Weapon swapping being something to balance the current state of current PvP. If that's what it's being based on, it's a bad thing because PvP is going to change, and that doesn't even take PvE into consideration. 1.5 seconds is just fine if you realize, oh crap, the only way I'm not going to die to this scorpion bush that I'm cornered by is to switch to the staff and just blast the hell out of it. My armor's already down, I don't have that much time left, I got to do something. And then you switch to it, and then 3 seconds later you're dead because you couldn't shoot back at it and drop a bubble.
Well, maybe it's more about being this is a PvP change, not something that's necessarily going to impact PvE. Maybe they don't want you guys to be encouraged to be swapping different weapons around during combat. Maybe they want to make sure you're a bigger sitting duck when you start playing that game.
Could be.
Yeah, maybe if it's for the PvE, but for PvP, I'm kind of afraid of what's going to happen if it's going to be a set amount.
Yeah. I mean, I know they've been playing with PvE internally with, whatever they've been working with probably for months now, so, they have a better idea of what PvE is going to be like than the few of us here, but, it's hard to say when the entire massive player base plus everybody who comes in because they just see, oh, now there's PvE, now's my time to get into Landmark. And of course the influx
Yeah.
of people coming back who want to try it out because there will be more to do in Landmark than there ever was before, which is kind of happening with every update. But yeah, okay. Anything else on that, on the PvP, the heroic movement limits and weapon swaps or anything like that? Or
I can't wait
can't
for
wait
the items.
for the new items? Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm really excited. I'm hoping it's going to be more than just jumping. Like, I think Dig said something about sliding, and sliding would be nice. Having a heroic version of sprinting where you're running really, really fast, but you have
Being able to
like a slowdown time when you like a startup and slowdown time. That would be great.
being able to dodge and such would be awesome as well.
Yeah.
Some new heroic movements. Like I know I used to play Elder Scrolls Online. You were able to just like hit Q or E and you'd slide right back. I mean, if someone's going to shoot you, you could hit Q or E, you're out of there. Whereas in this, you have to like time your jump or something to dodge an arrow.
Yeah.
There's a good question there from Cereals. Why should it take me longer to switch from a sword to a bow than from an axe to a pick? Because then they're going to make a duration from switching from a weapon to or a tool to another tool, just to be like, you see, Cereals, we did it just because of you. We made it arbitrarily longer to switch between things. Yeah. No, I don't think they're gonna do that. But no, I can understand the argument. Why are weapons in a different category than tools? And I would say the answer is, when you put your hand on a tool, while it has magic and stuff, built into it, it's used for a very specific purpose. When you put your hand on a weapon, it's got the combat abilities that become available to you, which have movement and mobility and stuff associated with them, energy drain associated with them, and armor associated with them as well. So it's you're getting a lot more for equipping a weapon. If I equip a sword, I can jump off a cliff and survive the same cliff I jump off with a pick. I die because I don't have that extra 500 armor or whatever. So and also if I jump off a cliff with the sword, I can right click basically at any point, and I've got safe fall if I don't left click before I hit the ground. So there's advantages to having the sword out, even if I'm mining with the pick, if I'm down deep in the caves when I'm traveling around. But I can definitely see the argument that there really shouldn't be that sort of switch over time. And yeah, it's a gameplay balancing sort of thing, and if they determine that it's arbitrary and they remove it, then they will. Or if they determine that item swapping time is required, then they will for tools. Adam, what's up?
I was just going to say, I agree with what some folks are saying in the chat, that it does seem a strange place, however, to start tweaking. But who knows? I am positive there is a logic to it that probably just isn't clear to us right now. There has to be. So we'll see. Action bar slots on key bindings, huh?
Yeah.
I thought this was already in game. I thought this was something you could already do.
I'm not sure if they're talking about like the PvP interactions, like your left click and your right click, to be able to put those on the hotbar or something.
Because I think I hit Control and then the number key to call up different. Yeah, I do. I do in game use the. So it must be mouse related then.
Yeah. Not. I wish I had gotten a little bit better detail. I think they only talked about it for a moment, so not.
Yeah, I didn't get much details at all there.
Full key binding. I hope so, Cereals. But that's not for this week. All the stuff that we're talking about for next update, the multi-threading, overhaul for heroic movement items, the PvP improvements, and they called it PvP improvements, by the way, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't call it combat improvements.
They
So
did. They
that's why
called the PvP.
that's why it's a little bit weird. Um, the action bar slots that we were just talking about that we're not sure about. Base armor. The base armors are coming. The high armor, the high mobility, and I think the other one's high energy.
Yeah.
Should be neat.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. Anything that adds a new layer of what's going to be a game mechanic, I always get excited about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with those base armors. Wasn't one of them like speed increase or something?
Yeah, the monk looking one I believe was high mobility. So that'll be pretty fun. That'll be nice for combat. It'll be nice for just getting around from point A to point B. So should be pretty cool.
I'm wondering how that will work though. If it's gonna be like the speed trinkets or what is it gonna be? I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to cover your outfit, so I'm not sure if it's something you wear in exchange for your outfit, or if it's something that your outfit only pops up when you're in non-build claims or something like that, or non-battle claims or whatever. Um, no idea how that's actually going to work. Or maybe it's parts that go over your costume rather than a full body covering sort of thing.
Well, I think it would probably be. Well, Dave said something on the show about how they were going to make sure that if you spent money on an outfit, you're going to be able to see your outfit if you want. So, again, based on, all of their other games, and currently right now, EverQuest 2, for example, they do the customization tab in all of their games, at
Right.
least their MMOs. So I'm sure that that's what we're going to end up with is a customization tab where you're like, here's how I want everyone to see me. Here's what I'm actually wearing.
Yeah, like transmog, like on World of Warcraft, where you can choose the
Yeah.
items you want to match what you're wearing.
Yeah, in EverQuest 2, it's literally just two panels. Here's the panel of your actual real equipment. Here's the panel of your cosmetic appearance. If you don't put anything in the slot in the cosmetic appearance, your armor underneath will show through that slot.
Yeah.
Simple as
that
that. It's not very complicated. Very simple.
And it seems like they're actually going to have modularity to it, where you'll be able to mix and match what parts of your armor show versus which parts of your costume show.
Probably be a toggle or something, I would think. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a little check mark. Yeah.
I would say that was one of the major strong points of the Unreal 3 engine. It was the ability to make highly moddable characters. Everything from Unreal 3 itself to some of the really, really advanced games that have been made with it. I think Kingdom's Rise was the name of one that I played recently. Didn't really enjoy the gameplay much, but my goodness, the customization for your character, just beautiful. Just amazing. So, that level of customization in a good game, that's where it's at. I'm really excited for that. And I'm sorry if anybody out there worked on the game Kingdom's Rise or really loves it. I just couldn't. No. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
It was better than Strike Vector. Anyway.
Anyway, that's not saying much.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. Alright, alright. So, sounds like they're going to make some UI adjustments for the combat system to make it a little bit less in your face, a little more out of the way. Not so sure about the details, but that's cool.
Well, it figures they would start big just to get your attention. Here, pay attention to this. This is what you need to learn. Okay, now that you guys are getting it, we're going to make this smaller.
Yeah, and it's nice. I mean, we don't need a big honking interface when we battle. The one thing that I do want, though, and I believe I talked about it on previous episodes, is a little ring around the that circle for the crosshair. A little ring on the inside and one on the outside that I can look at to know when my left click and right click cooldowns are expired or when they're done. So that way I don't have to look all the way down to the bottom to see if my bubble's up or my sniper shot's up or my sword charge is up, because I can do things in the periphery while I look down for a moment, but I prefer not to. You know, just a preference.
Yeah.
So that I hope that's something that we're going to be adjusting there.
I'm hoping we get UI improvements like customized where you can have because I personally don't like the bars on the side of me. I would like it on the
Mm.
bottom
Mm.
because it's annoying. Like especially when I'm PVEing, like I'm walking around building, or if I fall down and hurt myself, I got these annoying
Yeah.
bars when I'm trying to build. They're just sitting there for like 10 seconds, and if I use my grappling hook again, it's going to be there for another 10 seconds, and it's just
Yeah.
something I would love to be able to improve.
Honestly, if I'm not actually in battle, I tune it out. Like it's just not there for me. I'm flying from one claim to the other. I finally recognize, oh yeah, there's bars to the left and right when I see that my stamina's run out and I'm just doing the little kind of puffy float along that happens when you're out of stamina. Um, yeah. Alright. So, more optimizations are coming next week. Not just the multi-threading, but potentially some other stuff. And that's good. I'm excited. Optimizations, there's no bad thing about optimizations. Everything that's an optimization is good for us.
Wait, let me check chat. Is anyone complaining about optimization? Let's see. We'll count to 30.
Oh, never mind. I get to put my shadows on higher now, and then I'll be at ultra everything. I'm so excited.
There you go.
There you
That's pretty
go.
awesome. Full resolution too. Then the next thing you'll need to do is get a 4K system.
Yeah.
A 4K system? What do you mean?
The 4K resolution,
Oh,
is it like 4096 or something?
4K capable of keeping. No, you get 8K so you can do 4K 3D.
Oh, you. So, Caves 2.0, like we had talked about a little bit earlier, Caves 2.0 is not going to be coming in the next update in 2 weeks, but it's going to be getting some of the systems preparing for it. So it'll hopefully be coming in the next month or so, month or two. The full depth caves going all the way down, and at that point there won't be tier 2, tier 3, or tier 4 islands anymore. There won't be a need for it. All islands will be tier 1 on the surface, 2, 3, and 4 are down below, and I'm really hoping that they give it to us at the same time that they give us the additional leyline crystals, the ones that are underneath the various layers of depth, so that way we don't have to, run all the way from the top to the bottom. We can, do like they had intended and just go to hell if we want to.
I hope they have lava because I'm really excited for lava.
Liquid hot magma. Yes,
You can burn people.
I don't know
But
when
then I'm
they're
like,
going to give it to us, but that's the plan.
I want to burn people.
I think right now it's just going to be water because
That's
of that
spirit.
weird kind of bowl shape that the water is set up in right now. But eventually it'll be liquid hot magma. I'm sorry, whenever somebody says lava and it's like, well, wait a minute, it's not lava, it's not flowing yet. It's still magma. Liquid hot magma.
And then you have the water on top of it, and it turns into stone.
Yeah, obsidian. That's how I'll have to find our obsidian. Of course, I'm still one of those people that like, give me a dynamic water system, let me dig a tunnel straight down and flood hell with it, because that's just how I roll. It's one of my favorite things to do in Terraria.
That's a plan.
Alright, so they've been talking about in the update after the next one, the one that's going to be basically a month from now, they're going to be improving the terrain level of detail. That's going to be really nice, and I'm hoping that's going to come with that like mesh kind of snapshot of the builds, so that way your build won't look like this freaky deformed mass in the distance. It'll look like it's supposed to, just with a lot less voxels representing it. So that'll be really nice when that comes through.
I'm hoping that fixes to where if you're if you painted something with one voxel of paint and you back up like a football field away, you have all the little voxel, like you can see the one behind it. I'm hoping that fixes that because that's like I just made a big mural of Bob the Alien. He's tall, he's very big if you haven't seen him yet.
Oh
And if
yes.
you walk away far away, like a football field away, you'll see a bunch of dots of stone and it's kind of disheartening because you go to this guy's claim, he's right next door to me, and you just see this dotty looking green thing. It's kind of
Yeah.
ugh.
For the longest time, I actually had one purple lumicite voxel just on the edge of my claim. I think it was when I was replacing it after I picked it up because I wanted the templates in different, or the claims actually in different places. And then I didn't delete it for a while, and I could tell, which one was my claim. I just look at the hillside, and when I see the one with that one giant purple glob in the distance, like, oh, that's my home.
Oh yeah, oh that blob is mine. Yay!
Yeah, exactly. It's
You
like
know how
that.
many times I've been standing on my claim and occasionally something will pop up on my horizon that I'll be like, "What is that piece of crap blob thing on my horizon?" God damn it! Now I gotta go run over there and see what it
See
actually
what
is
it
because
is.
it looks
Yeah,
like shit from here.
I
And
know
then it's the
exactly what
Taj
you.
Mahal.
And then it's
Beautiful.
something cool. Like in this case, it was someone had built a factory building with the smokestack on top, blowing clouds out, and then he built like his work area up in the clouds.
That's
It was
awesome.
very cool in person, but from over on my claim on the other side of the valley, looked like total shit.
Yeah, no, that was when I was doing the full island tours way back before I started just kind of touring individual builds for castles and crap shacks way back in the day. In fact, even before it was castles and crap shacks, when it was just island tours, there would be a lot of those situations where it's like, well, it looks like it'd be a crap shack. It looks like it could just be some like floating turd. It looks like it might just be a giant phallus, but we have to go closer to find out. So
Hmm.
hopefully the LOD stuff will really improve upon that, and we'll be able to see. Oh, hey, that's a giant dong in the distance.
It'll certainly it's will certainly help with being able to, I mean, it would be nice to be able to look down the hill and make out, oh, that's a palace, oh, that's whatever they're building, without having to hang on, I gotta go run half a mile for this thing to load. And often they don't load until you're almost right on top of them. So yeah, this will definitely beautify the world a bit.
For sure. Um, so they talked about being able to save your platformer elements and templates. I didn't know they didn't.
Excellent idea. I didn't know that they weren't either, but it's cool that they you can.
Yep.
What's what they mean by platform? Like the movers?
Yeah, like your movers and everything will save all of their properties when you template and then repaste it, which I guess wasn't happening before. And I can understand why it potentially wasn't happening before, but I'm also really glad that it's fixed now.
Maybe that's why I can't
Mm.
paste my name.
Ah, well,
You know
maybe
what?
that'll be
I
fixed
just
for you tomorrow.
To
What's up?
back this conversation up a little bit, it just dawned on me why they may be tweaking the weapon swap times.
Hmm.
They're changing the whole underpinnings of how the system works, and they're bringing in the different combat armor. Maybe they really don't want you guys weapon swapping. Maybe they really want to encourage you guys to seriously stick to sort of a type when you commit to whatever it is you're doing.
But I like playing Quake and Landmark.
Yeah, to be fair, like I don't want to just have a weapon swap. I'd love to be able to do a full build swap on the fly. Just
Mm,
like press a button
yeah.
and like, bam! Now I'm speedy, shotgun dude. Rather than before it was like, oh, before I was slow, heavy armor, lasers everywhere, dude. So,
Yeah.
and then it's also it'll be really interesting because we're gonna need weapon swapping for competitive PvP, because I'll see there's going to be opportunities where someone can build their character in such a way that it's highly defensive, and they know exactly who they're going up against. That the only way their opponent can actually counter them is to switch to a weapon that's outside the fire keyword, because anything where they use the fire keyword, they're just healing the person instead of harming them. So they might be, kind of breaking their build a little bit because they're mostly fire based. But if the only way they're going to be able to hurt this other player is to, remove their fire element from what they're doing by just essentially fully switching their weapons, yeah, they're going to be down for 3 seconds. They might lose their armor, or if they have to, remove it and then put it on instead of just doing a hot swap sort of thing. But yeah, whether or not they have to do that, it's definitely like either I do this or I'm not going to be, worthwhile in this battle at all. 3 seconds isn't that long, but it's long enough that if somebody is pounding on you and you're trying to switch to the staff because your armor's down, they're going to still be able to continue with the advantage they had, instead of like, oh, surprise, shotgun in your face, which is how it currently goes down.
Something else they might be doing is testing out for maybe new items that are coming out with new weapons and such that we don't know about yet. And they might be testing out how that would work with the current sets before they bring out the new sets of weapons. And I'm excited to see what comes out, like machine guns, laser guns,
Absolutely.
lightsabers, maybe.
Energy swords.
Yes,
They've
like in
already
Halo.
they've already had two Lucas franchise games come through, and I'm pretty sure that they're not going to use lightsaber in another game. Unless
No.
it's a saber, a metal saber, and it's the light version of it rather than the heavy version. It's a different kind of
No.
lightsaber. I had one of those in Diablo.
What they could do is a plasma blade.
There you go.
They could do, or they could do generic laser sword.
Or it could be a sonic blade. That's one GURPS had in their sci-fi stuff. It was more like just sound waves just oscillating and ripping things to pieces.
Yeah.
A Lumicite blade.
But
there you go.
I personally, of course, would love a plasma blade of some sort in the game. Although, sadly, it won't sound like the plasma sword I want it to sound like.
Oh, I'm sure the sound effects people can come up with something pretty awesome. Don't you worry.
I think he has something to share with us.
Oh, hey, I clearly you have not watched like all the episodes previous to this. I'm not gonna rehash it now.
All right, so that's it for like kind of what's coming in the future updates here. So a lot of awesome stuff there. Now we didn't really talk about that the religion document. I kind of want to talk about that before we get through the rest of these notes here. Did either of you get a chance to kind of read over it in detail? And here, I'll give a link here for anybody who didn't get a chance to read it.
Yeah, let me glance over this very quickly.
So basically, for me, the idea of there being religions in EverQuest. Well, first, backing up a second. In the real world, a materialist will say we can't really prove the existence of God and tangible interactions with God or multiple gods or some other force or energy. Therefore, it's idealism to believe in them and believe they exist and that sort of thing. However, this is a video game. In this game, gods do exist. Magic does exist. They are real, tangible things. Mm-hmm. So, a religion is more than just a faith system, a belief system. It's actually a dedication to devotion. Almost not. It's not quite a cult because it's actually based on a truly divine figure, but it's almost, I would say, cult-like in probably some of the practices and mannerisms of it, because there is a tangible living creature that you're offering your praise and requesting favors and all of that, and you might actually be able to meet them, face to face if you're awesome enough, or something awesome happens or something. So that's why I think the discussion of religion in a game where the gods actually exist and are actually interactable, and real things that the characters can interact with, is such an interesting subject to talk about,
Mm.
because there's so many different ways, ritual sacrificing of things, that god could actually say, hey, no, you gotta burn like 10 goats every month for me, otherwise I'm gonna get kind of pissed. um, the reason, that's up to them. You could do a quest to find that out at some point, or at some point you get them some sort of holy brew and they drink it and they just kind of sit down and just like let out a big old sigh. It's like, it's not even that I hate ghosts. It's just this bet that I lost many decades ago. Yeah. So I mean, the reasons for religion in a game are going to have material purposes behind them. It's not just an arbitrary, burn your gold on this altar or whatever, and you may get praise. There will actually be potential meaningful goods coming from it. So I think that's really awesome that it's something that they're actively talking about and engaging us, the community, about. So I wanted to get both of your thoughts on that, both on kind of what I was talking about there, as well as what's in the document itself, and kind of some of the subjects that they're covering.
Well, this is it. Just definitely seems like an evolution on the idea of what they're already doing in EverQuest 2. EverQuest 2 has a god system as well. In that timeline, a lot of the gods are around now, but they've returned after having been gone for some time. Um, and in that game, it's essentially adding a couple of skills to your toolbar as you earn faction with that particular god as you level up. So, like in the case of my mage, um, she's where she has who's the fire god, man? Now I'm spacing. Solsec Row. Solsec Row as her deity, because she gets a whole bunch of fire enhancing abilities. But they're useful, but they're not so useful that you use them all the time, kind of a thing. Whereas here, what they're implying is that, the Story Bricks AI essentially is going to have a bigger impact on your world in your gameplay than they did in EverQuest 2. As far as just, oh, here's a couple of buffs, or here's an extra pet, or things like that.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
I'm all for it.
I mean, I think.
I genuinely think that I thought it was very cool when I ran across the god system in EverQuest 2. I was like, that's kind of neat. And when I realized that, oh no, you sacrifice your junk loot to the god in your home on the altar, and and you basically earn favor with the god. And when you have so much favor, you can buy some of the new spells, and it's kind of a it's just I thought it was a very cool and neat thing.
Absolutely. I mean, that's definitely a great way to deal with your junk loot, instead of just turning it into, you know, meager coin that really probably isn't going to do much for you anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Catchy, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't have too many thoughts on the religion because I haven't really played too many games with religion in them. I mean, I did play Elder Scrolls Online for 3 months before I got bored.
Mm.
They did have some gods in there, like Amalexia, and you do some quests for her to protect, protect the land and from this evil force, this evil, basically someone who's trying to fight against this god. You're trying to prevent this person from plaguing the land with zombies or something like that. But yeah, I think it would be really interesting. Kind of like, I mean, if there's maybe there is additional abilities like in I'll reference Elder Scrolls Online again because that's what I played for the last 3 months. Um, where like with the vampire system, you get extra abilities, you get extra skill sets, like he was saying. I think that would be interesting. Different abilities for helping out different gods in the world, if they are in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I am being corrected. The gods existed in EQ2, but not all the gods, from what I understand. Some of them are sort of dead or missing. But all right, I gotcha. I don't know. So much has changed in that game over the last 15 years it's been out. For 10 years, 10 years, that's it.
I mean, Tuner starts dead in EverQuest Next. Apparently, that's how Kithakor. So, yeah. And apparently that was, I didn't quite understand the people raging about that or whatever. I didn't realize people raged about that sort of thing, but
Mm.
um, because I guess Tenair had followers or whatever, and oh well, follow her to the grave anyway.
Hmm.
So
Oops.
I don't have a better follow up to that one.
I forgive me, guys. I have to mute myself out here for a sec.
Yep, you handle it.
Okay.
So, the dirt curve tutorial that Dave Georgeson did during the show, showing us
Uh,
how to take contours that exist in the world, copy them off. You first you paint it with a different material, then you copy it, then you paste it somewhere else, then clean up one side um, by using basically the line tool. Like if this is the side I'm trying to clean up, I'll put one part of the line tool here and then the other part of the line tool here, so it's basically a flat line. Use the one by one line to do that, and you pretty much do that all along the sides of the curve. Then you copy that segment, you paste it on the rougher side of the curve that you cut out, and then you can kind of keep pasting it along and make a long segment of that curve. And if it's got a little bit of weirdness or artifacting, there's ways you can still kind of modify it and salvage it, like smoothing parts of it or grabbing a section of it from the middle and then just copying that and using that rather than what's towards the edges, because the stuff in the middle often ends up being a lot more cleaned up. So pretty awesome. And the doing the line tool thing to clean up the sides apparently is referred to as the skeleton technique.
yeah, that's what Tenma calls it. I was watching him do that on Cody's stream today with like a
Was
boat or something. They were taking pieces out, and
was
it
he
was all
drunk when he
artifacted
came
up.
up with that name? Because that makes no sense.
I have no idea. I never watched that tutorial. But yeah, it's the skeleton key.
Okay.
But I think it's very useful. I mean, I didn't know you can. Well, I guess I never thought about it that you can just copy out, paint it, and then bring it out.
I'd sooner call it flat line cleanup because it's a flat line and you're using it to clean up a surface. Maybe I'm just not creative enough with that sort of thing. I don't know. Tenma's kind of out there with his creativity a little bit, but I don't know. Flat line cleanup sounds a little bit
I think
more to the point than Yar, the skeleton key.
I think
Or,
Metallica got it. It's sanding. It's like sanding.
yeah, sanding. There
Sanding.
you go.
Line
Well,
tool is magic. It
you're right,
definitely is.
Piewing. You are right. All right. So, then we got they're working on the linking and triggering system, so you could have a light switch that turns on a light, or you can have a door that you open it and it turns off any lights that might be in the room, and then a little floor plate that when you step on it, it closes the door behind you, seals it, and turns on some very particular spooky lights, and then it's like, oh no, it's like a horror film or whatever, and make a spooky build with it, or any sort of other sorts of things. I'm sure people will make really awesome, especially if you can have a chain reaction sort of thing. people making a full-on Rube Goldberg machine where you press one part of it, and then the series of actions goes through a bunch of things. Flip over like a domino rally, and it pushes something that makes the fan blade start spinning, and maybe when it spins a certain number of times, that can trigger something to happen. No idea what they implement with it and what they'll do to improve those implementations are kind of interesting, and I'm really excited to see what they'll be able to do with that, and what we'll be able to do with that actually, because that'll be great being able to actually have Storybricks interactions where you can be like, hey, if somebody telling a goblin, hey, if somebody comes in and starts attacking people, you run this way, and you have it run over a little fall through platform that they'll fall to their death, but then a bunch of other goblins come up through it. Um, so if you don't take that little goblin out, you're gonna have ads in like 30 seconds. That's the sort of stuff that I'm really excited to be able to see them do.
Where you hit a switch and then lava comes spewing out. And
Yeah,
melts
lava
all the
fountain.
guards.
There you go.
Dynamic lava. Coming soon, I hope.
That'd be pretty interesting. Yeah, well, dynamic lava, I believe they do want to have the lava. What was it called? Not lava escape, but the kind of the lava and volcanic biome that's just constantly all messed up and stuff. I wish I remembered the name. I not Ashfall or Ash. Yeah, I can't remember. There is a
Mag-
biome that's most definitely lava oriented. That's like gonna be a surface biome.
Magmus. Magmus Bimo.
Right, that'd be pretty interesting to see how it's gonna play out. It'll be interesting to see how it works in EverQuest Next too, because it actually plays into the lore of that game where it's going to be placed and where it could potentially occur. So, flying on claims. They said flying on claims is something that there isn't really a reason that they haven't done it other than they just haven't done it. Um, but they're going to get it in eventually. We'll eventually be able to fly on our claims, which is great. Flying and building, because it sucks to not be able to. It's really frustrating to have to keep jumping back and forth just to be able to make sure the line tool or make sure the selection tool is in the right place before you copy something, or when you're trying to paste a bunch of something in a row that you don't have to keep readjusting every 3 or 4 pastes. Ashfang, maybe that's it. Um, yeah,
I think it'll be interesting that I won't have to build platforms to be up high to mold something to be beautiful.
yeah, that'll be
Because when I,
nice.
because when I made my giant alien, I had to put his head above a board so I didn't fall down every time I was trying to adjust myself. It was kind of annoying. It'd be nice to just be able to, "Ooh, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm
Yeah,
over here."
and that way there's no reason to worry about fault. The little weird falling damage on claims bug they have right now, where if it's the bottom of the claim and there's dirt below it or whatever, then you're still gonna splatter because of the collision detection. So that won't even be an issue anymore, and that'll be nice.
I just hope they
Mention
fix the template bug.
the
Template
systems.
bug is
Are
no
you saying
fun.
that the systems for it aren't really usable for anything else at the moment? So that's why they're not working on it. That, I guess that makes sense. That they want to try to work on the stuff that's going to do the most to add features rather than things that are kind of specific. Um, a raid call, volcano. Good one, Kaladin. Alright. Couple more things to cover here. We've got something about boats. First he said voxels, then he said mesh, then he said something about something so creative and awesome they'd kill him if he told him about it, or they told us about it, or whatever. So I remember seeing a Storybricks video a little while back that actually, or not Storybricks, excuse me, Voxel Farm video, where they demonstrate the ability to create a vehicle if I remember correctly, be able to create a vehicle and no, this wasn't a vehicle. This was volumes of air. You could have like a balloon, and you cut the bottom off, and the material rises because it's been assigned to being lighter than air. But when the material rises, it doesn't cause the material to like move in some sort of a weird way. It it's the material of the thing that you broke off that started rising up. So it's essentially a mesh that's been saved of the voxel version. So I believe what's going to happen with vehicles is that we can build it out with voxels and maybe even props. And then once we're ready, it gets turned into a mesh of that voxel creation, voxel prop creation, and we can then, go drive that around through the world, which I'm really excited for because I have and I don't know if they'll allow this scale, I have a 3 claim tall tower that I made in alpha that I've been saying I just want to put some turrets and some engines on that and drive it all around. And if they actually allow something like that, I'd be so happy. It's going to be like $1,000,000 to rebuild the damn thing, but I don't even care.
Make a rocket and fly to the moon.
Yeah, there you go.
Moon
Well,
biomes coming soon.
well, eventually they want to have floating island biome, I believe, in Landmark.
Ooh, like Outland with black. It's like you're in space. That'd be interesting. There's a lot of things they
Gliders,
could do.
something on gliders. Yeah, gliders would be nice, Caldorian. Um, the meshification system, yeah, Metallical. That is, there are a lot of features based on that for sure. I'm really excited for that. A train on tracks would be cool. Hell yeah, it would, Kappas. The roller coaster track from I want to say that was like May or June when I toured that build. That was an awesome build. And yeah, being able to put a card on that and actually have it go through, that would be totally awesome. You could
Roller
charge people
coaster
station
tycoon.
cash. So what was that?
Roller coaster tycoon landmark.
Yeah. All right. So a couple more things here we've got on the list. We've got one-way teleporters. They're coming.
Thank you. That would make my Quake claim so much better. Because right now you can teleport from the top to the bottom, which shouldn't be happening.
Gotcha.
I'm excited about that. Especially like what you were saying. You put a teleporter there, and if someone steps on it, they're dead because they're in a bomb pit now.
Yeah. Yeah. Very excited for one-way teleporters. And actually, for the maze makers, I think one-way teleporters are going to be really awesome.
See, I already thought they had one way teleporters. I didn't realize you couldn't set it up so you couldn't go both ways.
Yeah, I thought we did. I tried to set that up the other day, and I couldn't find the feature for it, though. So,
Yeah. Hmm.
um,
So there you go.
there
Apparently
we
we
go.
were wrong,
Yeah.
and it is a coming.
Yep. And then the one last thing that they had to mention about was the extra life team for SOE. They're looking to
Yeah.
raise, was it $50,000?
50K, yeah, which I thought was awfully ambitious, but they've really been pimping the hell out of this for weeks now.
50,000 for SOE employees and players who join the team and all of that. No, I don't think 50,000 is. I'm pretty sure that's a pretty reasonable number for them to be able to hit and probably exceed. 100,000, probably still be able
You
to
never
hit that
know.
if they wanted, but
Yeah,
we'll
I would
see.
think so. I would think so.
I mean, I figure this is when they're really gonna start moving with that play it forward thing. I mean, they got they've gotten the website for it and access to it and such. So I think it was the website. It was either the website or just like the rights to it in general or something. But yeah, no,
Well, I
they have play
also
it forward now.
yeah, and I know that Brass, the community manager for all of SOE, is really keen on this, and she's been pimping this hard on her social media personally. So I think it's going to do real well for him, and everybody who's jumping in seems really excited about contributing. So I'm always impressed with all the streamers. Every year I watch my friends jump in on the extra life stuff, and it's very cool that folks go out of their way to do this.
Yeah. I still haven't figured out what I'm gonna do. Do either of you have any plans in particular?
When is it happening again?
It's like it's a few weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that.
Odds are I'm going to be up to my ears in work.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
October 25th, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah. I'm going to be up to my ears, my eyeballs in
Yeah.
Halloween.
Oh yeah, I bet. I betcha.
Yeah, that's a Monday. I'll be at. No, wait, that's a Saturday. What am I saying? Monday.
Saturday, because everybody does like 24-hour streams and they get crazy with it.
I still have to go and find another opera phantom mask. That's been my running costume for the past few years. Is the Phantom of the
Oh yeah.
douchebag. So it's got the opera mask, and a cape. So if you see me from behind and you see my head turn, it's like, oh, I see he's like kind of a weird bearded Phantom of the Opera thing. Okay, but then when I turn around, you see I've got a gold chain. I've got like a low cut V-neck shirt, and usually I wear some jeans or something with it, and I
Yeah.
talk like a douchebag.
Oh,
Well, you see, if
God.
I had from the side, I just would have thought you were a hipster Phantom of the Opera.
There you go. Nice.
Very nice. Very
All right.
nice.
All right. So I think that's about it. It is about time to wrap up the show here. So let's go through the rounds here. Catchy, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you and what they can find you doing for the next little bit here?
Yeah, you can find me at. I'm always on Twitter. At Catchi27. Twitter. I mean, I said Twitter already. Twitch. At Catchy underscore. No, wait, Catchy underscore. And I'm always in Landmark, and I'm always in these chats because I love this community. And that's it.
Awesome.
And you, Adam, why don't you, I guess, give a little quick rundown? I know you're going to be busy with your work stuff, but
Yeah. Well, if you're near Chelmsford, Massachusetts, come visit Halloween City. But otherwise, you can come find me on Twitter, AT0MXII. It's Adam12. And YouTube, same thing, AT0MXII. And there you go.
all right. And of course, I stream a lot. Legendary Neurotoxin. You're in my channel here. You know where you're at. Like I'm pretty sure everybody here already knows all the stuff that I stream at this point. Of course, Arudinel's there for everything. He's like absolutely nuts. And D-Man's there for a lot of it too. So anyway, um, I am going to lead everybody over to our good friend Noodle Cat. She was on a couple of weeks ago. She was on Dead Feature Rant last week, and she is doing a 12-hour celebration stream right meow because she hit 500 followers. And
Oh, excellent.
damn near at 600 at this point. It's already like 565, I think, when I last checked. So head on over there, everybody. We're going to be doing a live feature raid over on Noodle Cat. And that is it for Live Feature Rant episode 34. Thank you all very much for coming, and I will see you later.
See ya.
Bye.